We're going alphabetically. So first up on the docket is Aon Computing. Jeff Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
This is like The Price is Right. Come on down. Dun, 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 dun. Hi, my name's Jeff Johnson with Aon Computing. Before I start, those of you that came to the beer reception last night, we hope you had a good time. Show you a little local hospitality, a little bit of local beer, and one of the best parts is we figured out how to make beer drinking tax deductible on April 15th. So as Steve said, alphabetical order, I'm first. So welcome to the vendor presentations, or also known as PowerPoint waterboarding. So who is Aon? We're a manufacturer of high-performance computing and storage. We've been doing this since 2009. We formed the company. So we understand both the compute and the storage side of the equation. We're privately held, profitable, and we're based here in San Diego. Most of you woke up in the hotel today. I woke up at 5 this morning with my 2-year-old's foot in my face. Want to keep this short because we're getting near the end of the day. So this is 7 slides boiled down into just one graph. The Aon story: high performance, high reliability, low cost, and minimal BS. Can't say bullshit, can I? No. So we don't like BS from our vendors. We know you guys don't either. So that's our mantra. Keep it simple. We're very technical. We've been doing this since 1999, Linux HPC. So we understand a lot of the technology, a lot of the complexities. We know big data, although I hate the buzzword. We have multi-petabyte Lustre deployments. This slide says the largest one is 18 petabytes. It's kind of a misnomer because it was 18 petabytes to one site, but it's actually 3 file systems, so not quite that big. HPC just isn't a buzzword to us. We rigorously test and benchmark all the technologies and components we incorporate into our systems to make sure they actually hold up to the workloads and the reliability. You'd be surprised how many quote-unquote enterprise-grade products are out there that you put them in a Lustre environment, they choke really bad. So we work hard to make sure that that doesn't happen in the field. This is a kind of a general product overview, or you could look at it as the long walk sunset on the beach slide. We don't do appliances or black box products. Everything we do is open hardware. So you deploy a Lustre file system today, Moses comes down from the mountain a year from now and says you have to deploy Ceph or some other technology. The hardware's open, you can do it, and we'll help you implement it if it's necessary. Everything we deliver is turnkey and tested. We do on-site installations and support. We deploy internationally. We do black hole disk drive warranties. We support and assist in site customizations. No 2 sites are the same. People have different methodologies for error logging, monitoring, things like that, and we help make sure that any of the stuff that we deploy is easily integrated into somebody's customized environment. We don't have any hidden post-sale support costs or contracts. We like to keep things pretty simple, and we very firmly believe in and support the open community status of Lustre. There we go. This is kind of just a basic overview of our Lustre-focused products. We have a non-HA Lustre product called Eclipse SL2. It's an integrated OSS OST platform. It's second generation to what the folks at SDSC deployed for the 6 petabyte Data Oasis file system. I think they're happy with it. Yeah? Okay. We also have an HA Lustre offering called Gamma Raid. It's a SAS dual controller, cache coherent, hardware-based RAID platform. We have a Lustre ZFS offering. It's a 60-bay rack mount chassis called Hydra 60 that has dual integrated OSS nodes integrated into the chassis. And finally, for an MDS, we have our Eclipse MD, which is a dual MDS integrated failover HA configuration with integrated hardware RAID. And tried to keep it short and simple because I don't want to be the guy that's standing between you and beer and dinner and whatnot. So if you have any questions about our company, our products, or the best microbrewery in town, where to get good tacos, any of that stuff, right outside the door is our table. Feel free to come and ask. Other than that, that's it.
Thank you, Judd. Thanks for not being that guy. Next is Bull.
Eric, Eric, I don't want to butcher your last name. Is it Monchalin?
Yeah, great.
Eric Monchalin.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you to those who stayed for these boring vendor sessions. Someone asked what is doing Europe of Lustre. So I am pleased to be a European company. Some European companies are investing on Lustre. And as that has been shown on the slides we saw this afternoon, at least 3 European companies contributed to Lustre 2.4. So it means that 20 or 25% of the company contributing to Lustre 2.4 were European, so it's not so bad. How does it work? This fine. So just to remind you that Bull is an HPC solution vendor. We developed our own hardware and software environments to provide our customer with full HPC solutions. And for the file system, we work on Lustre. So we work on Lustre, but we pay a lot of attention to the integrations of Lustre, storage, interconnect, and I/O servers. We had a talk this afternoon discussing all the tuning aspect and all the integration aspect of all these components as a whole. And we do provide also our customer with a full environment for configuration, deployment, monitoring, and failover capabilities of Lustre. Having delivered solutions up to 1,500 gigabytes per second in Europe. Now we do get value from Lustre community, but we do also participate to the Lustre effort in several domains. The first one and the most important one for us is reliability. And I think that we started a unique effort with static code analysis of Lustre. We did an analysis of the whole Lustre code, and we are in progress of providing back communities with defects and patches. Sebastian will have a talk on this topic tomorrow. The second area of investment for us is HSM. It's really expected by our customers. We do work with CEA, mainly focusing on integrations and validations of the features. And we are also working on the performances of the Lustre clients, which is a little bit under our expectation on Lustre 2.6 versions. For the futures, our focus is on many core and burst IOs. And for global support of Lustre, we do participate to the UFS Council Europe, participating to the promotion of Lustre. Bull is fully committed on Lustre. We are really intend to invest on Lustre to be our exascale file system solutions. And I will be pleased in the log 2018 or 2020 to celebrate with all of the users the break of the exaflop record with the first supercomputer powered by Lustre. So see you in 6 or 8 years from now for these big celebrations. Thank you. Do you have questions? Okay, so great evening and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Eric. Okay. Next, we're going to have Barry Boulding from Cray. And if everything goes well,
Send it to you twice, just in case.
right on, you the man.
Okay.
Barry Boulding.
Thank you. Again, I will make it quick. I just would like to start out by saying, if you look at the attendees today, you look at the members of the committees. I think it's interesting to see that in the members of the committees, we have a lot of customers. We have a very strong customer representation. I think here at the meeting, we have a lot of developers, most of whom are at private companies. We have a lot of people, vendors who are selling Lustre on systems. But I think we need to make sure, as we leave over the next couple of days, Cray wants to make sure that we are doing our part to recruit more customers into this organization. That's going to be critical. And if there's any one thing as a vendor that I want to say, that's it. Because we need to have more people in this audience who are representing the customers, not just the vendors. So go out, do that. OpenSFS, the board, I hope that's a major thing that we push forward. It's certainly something that we in Cray will be emphasizing. And every customer we pitch to, every customer I talk to, I try to recruit into the OpenSFS. I will say NCSA, who I'll be talking about here, I believe they've submitted their application to join, and hopefully that will process, and they'll be here next year as well. So now the vendor kind of marketing stuff. Cray really has three businesses: computation, analytics, and storage and data. And so our storage and data is what I'm here to talk about. OpenSFS. We took a strong early commitment to OpenSFS because we are committed as a company to open standards across the board. We use Linux in our systems. We've been a founder of OpenSFS, of OpenACC. We've been a long-time contributor to OpenMP. We're a board member of the InfiniBand Trade Association. We're a strong member of Open Fabrics, and certainly through our user groups. And also, we're also working in the analytics side to push Sparkle as an open standard for the database side. So certainly that's a part of our strong commitment, and OpenSFS is an integral part of that strategy. On the storage side, our approach is a lot different than it used to be 10 years ago when we first started using Lustre and RedStorm, where we were really committed to Lustre, but only in those large system installations where we were selling a system. And about a year and a half ago, we decided that not only have we gained enough expertise and experience in large Lustre implementations to just sell storage to Cray systems customers, but now we're selling storage and a portfolio storage across the board to customers and sites that don't buy Cray systems, where they're just buying the storage from us. And we think we bring three things to that. We bring expertise at scale. That's really what we've done over the last few years. We bring choice in the sense that some of our largest installations in the world, we're involved all of the major suppliers of storage. We work with NetApp, DDN, with Xyratex. We work with a number of other providers. We work with Mellanox to provide infrastructure for those. And really that choice for our architects to sit down with the customer and design the system, talk about what the requirements are, and then provide the best choice. And then finally, results. And then I want to talk quickly about a couple of case studies, give you a couple of examples of what we've been involved in. Of course, Blue Waters is one of our flagships today, 25 plus petabytes in 3 file systems. In that, we basically have done work with them both on the failover side and in the fine-grained routing to optimize the scale of Lustre there. It's interesting, I had Nirmal Sinu is here. He actually works on site at NCSA, and this morning when I was hearing some of the talks, I said, Nirmal, can you get me the data on how much space is being used on the system, how many files are on the system today? We heard from Lawrence Livermore, and yeah, we have 620 million files today on the file system, on the 3 file systems, and about 66% utilization on that file system today. So that file system is actually part of a broad infrastructure that we put in at NCSA, and everything in blue here is what Cray installed and architected and provided. The only things at NCSA in the current Blue Waters implementation we did not install and provide were the data caches and the nearline storage in the lower right, and the connections to the outside world. And we provided data movers, we provided Lustre file systems, logins, and the compute. And on October 7th, we demonstrated 1.137 terabytes a second of Lustre bandwidth in and out of those aggregate 3 file systems. So we're very happy. The scaling of the system is very well. We provide 100 gigabytes a second of bandwidth through the data movers out through HPSS, and that's not all Cray. NCSA is really doing a lot of work on the HPSS side to allow for that to happen. They actually got HPSS certified in that environment recently for production work, and then 100 gigabytes a second through the data movers to the outside world. We also, an interesting implementation we did was at ACES, where we actually have installed a Lustre file system there, and we've done that with a combination of NetApp gear, with Cray expertise, and we gone in and kind of revamped their storage architecture to connect with the ACES machine, over 10 petabytes and 160 gigabytes a second there. And then one I don't have on here that we're installing here in the next few months is at HLRN in Germany, where we're installing 2 sites where we have DDN storage, Lustre file systems at each of 2 remote sites about 100 kilometers apart from one another, and we're installing those and allowing those to have shared home file system access. So that's all I have for today. Thank you for your time. Any questions? Okay.
Thanks,
I'm going through the alphabet. Oh, right, DDN. If I recall, this is one slide. I mean, that doesn't count, like, presumably the title slide.
Yeah. I won't text you.
Jeff Denworth.
Hello. Hi, everybody. So I'm Jeff from DDN. This is probably my 9th or 10th lug, maybe now. So it's been a long time. Lots of familiar faces, but lots of changes, too. Gained a little weight throughout the years, slicked my hair back Mad Men style. Kind of like a chunky Don Draper without the whole thing where I get to have affairs with everybody I work with. So that's what I got going on. Anyway, one slide. Criticism last year, DDN, too much marketing. So the marketing guy, I have to do a little bit, but wanted to kind of bring everybody up to speed on where we're at in the marketplace. DDN, best year ever in 2012, continuing our growth spurt. A lot of that's fueled by high-scale Lustre environments. We announced one today that you might have caught. We did announce that supercomputing, we're investing about $100 million into exascale. Some of you have already been briefed on our roadmap. We've got a lot of really exciting products coming out, and certainly if you don't know what we're up to, you should find out. From an engagement perspective, we've also announced a little award that we're offering up to people that are moving the needle forward from a data-intensive computing perspective using high-scale systems, and we call this the WARP Prize, Worldwide Academic Research Prize, and $100,000 for those of you that want to compete for some money based upon doing some pretty cool things. You'll be judged by your peers, and simply I'm just putting in a little reminder that we're doing this. We announced it at Supercomputing, and you're happy to submit by talking to anybody at DDN and looking at our website. So those are initiatives. From a development perspective, we have a lot of things going on. First off is we've as of the first half of this year, been spending a lot of time integrating our cloud storage system that we call WAS with Lustre. So using the Robinhood policy engine, we will be enabling organizations to process locally at the highest rates of speed using the Lustre file system, and then through an automated manner distribute that data into your own storage cloud, leveraging a distributed storage infrastructure, a global namespace in the true word of global, as well as having the niceties of a declustered storage platform that heals itself. So that's pretty exciting. We are working with the Intel team on the Fast Forward project, and so you're going to see a lot of work come out of that effort, in particular for the Department of Energy, and that's one of the other developments that we have going on with respect to Lustre. And then the third is there's been a lot of talk about accelerating Lustre with flash technology. We have announced as of Supercomputing a platform that allows us to basically accelerate the Lustre file system in interesting ways using specific acceleration APIs that we've developed that we're going to hook into the Lustre framework. And so transparent acceleration of all things Lustre without having to have very complex migration tools and mechanisms. And then finally, so we're investing in a lot of interesting stuff. We're developing a lot of interesting stuff, but we're also deploying. And I just put up here a collection of some of our recent kind of petascale wins. These are all petaflop environments or greater. So some really exciting projects, really exciting customers, and we continue to solve the most difficult data-intensive computing problems. So thank you all for your partnership on that route. And then finally, we are releasing the little box up top, this SFA 7700. This is our first flash accelerated platform. We announced it in November, and we'll be shipping it at the end of this quarter. So we're excited about that, lowering the ASP of high-scale storage. So with that, I promised one slide. I actually have two. I just wanted to thank all of you for your continued business and your partnership, and go Lustre. So thank you so much.
Soren, are you the man? Right on. I'm sure they're here. I'm sorry? Let me make sure that I'm... Yeah, there we go. Right on. Soren Fabish from EMC.
Thank you. So first of all, I hope you're still awake. So I'm not sure it's not boring what I'm going to say, but unlike my predecessors, I'm not going to talk about marketing, but about things we do to contribute to Lustre. And as you could see already, we have a lot of patches and a lot of contribution, but you know, it's never enough. And in fact, our goal. How do I?
Right arrow.
Here, this one.
Well, that'll work. Try it on the keyboard.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, so we started about a year ago to contribute to Lustre, and our main interest is in commercial usage of Lustre. We want to help Lustre to become more prevalent in the market. Yes, we want to support it for the exascale and beyond, but I think that in order for us to grow, for Lustre to, you know, be more used, we need commercial use. And one of the major problems with commercial use is the client. And we know this because I'm, you know, maybe people know me about my PNFS push, and we had the same problem with that. So we have experience with that, and we want to do the same thing for Lustre. So we're working together with Intel, Cray, and Oak Ridge, LNL, SUSE to make this happen. I know that was not a very popular subject last year, but I hope in the meantime people start to realize that a wider deployment of Lustre goes through having a Lustre client in the kernel, and that's what we're going to do. So in order to do that, we contribute patches, we clean up many things that were discussed that Andreas was mentioning yesterday in the morning. So it took us a while, but we are there. We are ready. We wrote about 20,000 lines of code for the cleanup and for the other pieces that we're working. We have 2 developers working all the time on this. Peng Tao and Zhuzhao Liu from EMC China are our developers, and they worked for several months to clean up and then to get ready for the latest kernel. In fact, the last 3 months we moved the client to 3.9, so which is hopefully going to be useful for improving performance as well. We didn't test yet, but we intend to ensure that we can tune it for latest kernel. So you can see here a short list of things that we did. And so we did some coding style change to be acceptable for the kernel. We, like any others, many others, we know that's not easy to convince the maintainers of kernel to accept code that it's not very popular. So we try to do as much as possible background work so they won't have any problem with the code. We did some cleanups and we removed some macros, and all these are in the tree already. So it's part of the continuous work. And as I said, until 2 months ago, we started to really move toward the kernels, and we are now at 3.9. Remaining things to do, libcfs cleanup, it's work in progress. Opt class cleanup and some other minor cleanups. Additional to this, we applied the patches in LU 2335 and build Lustre client code external modules, or copy the Lustre client code into a kernel tree. That's if you want to already start with this. We have the Git, the latest Linux kernel tree patched with Lustre client source at this address, and is based on 3.9 RC3. And also we have, you can do the config, export config Lustre and then do a make. So if you want already to start looking at it. And by the way, this work was a follow-up of last year after the log. We went to present this proposal to the LSF. And we got some recommendations in order to support our efforts. And we worked through the recommendation. And in fact, the way we're going to do it, we're going to check it in the staging area first. And then we'll wait for the review of the people that are interested to review it. And after that, we'll, after it's approved, we're going to move forward. And recommended steps, and by the way, Intel Linux team is supporting us. I mean, Matt and Andy Klein. The huge patches were merged in the staging tree first, as we recommended by Greg. Lustre code in the FS directory and depend on staging. Smaller incremental patches to clean up will be added. Then new future patches were allowed. For example, we are looking at flash support in the client, like flash cache, for example. It's one of our ideas. Don't know yet how it will pan out, but that's. We need support from the community because it will be hard. We'll have a good background for the Linux kernel maintainers, but it's always hard. So we will need support from the community in order to, not to get into not necessarily technical issues, but more political issues. So we're trying to solve that on our own. Yet it's always good to have support of the community. So I believe that the people that already supported us will continue to support us. And we have some marketing stuff if you're interested outside in our table, so we can discuss several of the topics. I didn't talk about our Fast Forward project, but as you know, we are part of this effort, and we believe that we will get to exascale Lustre. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right.
No cameras. What's this button do?
No, you're just giving me a hard time.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
You've been up here for how many hours? 10 hours.
I have no idea what I'm doing now.
Well, I got 32 slides to go through in how many minutes? 7?
I
Can't believe people stayed this late.
I
Thank
can't.
you all
I
for
copied
staying.
them. I just can't find them.
I like to read my slides. I don't have to think while I do
No,
this, right?
and-
I just
and,
wrote an essay
you know.
here.
Do you have the slide? I don't know why I don't have the slides.
You told me that I gave
Oh,
you
there
one.
they are. Sorry,
The
I
one
can't.
that says Intel.
No, I can't read.
Good point. We're
No,
Intel
no.
now.
I just was working my way through the alphabet. You know, I got
thought-
past E, and you know, you were preempting me because I was going F, G.
Why is he coming up here? You want me to come back when you have W's?
No, no, it's all good, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Brent Gorda.
All right. So, lots happened in the last year. In fact, a lot's happened in the last 3 years. 3 years ago at this event, we kind of got the idea for WAM Cloud and decided that the community needed to take Lustre back from a company that obviously didn't, or that wasn't showing that it cared about Lustre, about the technology. And so we did that in WAM Cloud, and our thrust there was actually to build this community. I was thrilled to see Dave Fellinger's slide that talked about how the community's matured, because that's the model we had in mind when we were doing WAM Cloud. Couple specific things to point out about the business model here is that this group is the only group that does not want to sell you any storage hardware, right? We are completely storage hardware vendor neutral. It turns out we're also compute hardware vendor neutral. We will support Lustre on any platform as we do at Livermore on Power, lots of AMD sites out there. Happy to support you wherever you need it, but we do not sell hardware, right? We get our income from selling support and development services. And of course, we don't make much money on development, because if you can show me someone who can accurately estimate a software project, I will show you a liar, because it's not possible. And so WAM Cloud grew to be about 60 people in 7 countries, completely virtual. We had our first all-hands meeting last fall, and I walked up to Joshua, a guy that I hired about 18 months previous, and I'd only ever interacted with him on Skype. And the only thing I could think of is, dude, you're a lot taller in real life than you are on Skype. And it like kept coming back to my head. This was really weird. So my whole theory in doing the WAM Cloud thing is hire smart, hire the best guys you can, and get the hell out of their way, right? Because they are going to make stuff happen. And I think the proof's in the pudding, because that's what happened. Intel came along last summer, and mid-July we announced an acquisition, but not much has changed. I am still the boss of a business unit called the High Performance Data Division, and I still run it like a company, exactly like WAM Cloud. Inside Intel, we're called the WAM Cloud Group. So we've kept literally everything that we had before, well, except for maybe Skype doesn't work so well through the VPN. So we have a few more wrinkles than we did before. There was a bit of talk earlier today about the copyright being dispersed out. I'm the guy that made the decision to pee in the copyright pool, and I want to stand by that. I think Lustre belongs to you, to the community. I don't want to put that genie back in the bottle. I want the community, I want OpenSFS to own it. I want everybody here to own it, and us not to get into that situation that we were in with Oracle. I don't want to be the guy that owns Lustre and have that power myself. I don't want anybody to have that. So we're at Intel now. We have the same business model. My boss will say we bought WAM Cloud to be WAM Cloud, doing the exact same stuff. We've grown about 20%. We've added a couple salespeople who may be in the room here, maybe snuck out. We've added a marketing person. So we're maturing our own business model a little bit.
We've lost one person since the acquisition, and that was to Ink Tank. I don't know if Sage is still here, so I can beat him up about taking Ian, because we really liked Ian. So on to Intel. Intel loves open source. Intel, depending on what year you measure, Intel is either the #1 or #2 contributor to the Linux kernel. Intel is completely trustable and completely above board doing this open source thing. The mind meld there for how to handle Lustre and how to contribute to this community is perfect. It works perfectly well. As you learned earlier today, we're doing a huge amount of work, a lot of lifting on our own nickel, because we want to prime the community pump. We want the community to keep growing. We're here to help as much as we can. Of course, we're not a charity. We are trying to make money at this, so it's important that you actually transact. You help out with your dollars, help out with your support, that sort of thing. We're also doing, as you saw a couple of talks ago, we're also doing a bunch of interesting experiments with the likes of Hadoop and AWS. At Wham Cloud, we had a lot of people coming to us saying we wanted to use Lustre in different environments. We're now actually starting to be able to do that, and I think it looks really promising. There's some counterintuitive pieces in here for an HPC crowd where performance may not be the key feature for Lustre and AWS, for example. And so we're working on those and hope to bring those to you, again, open source. Most of all, Intel likes Lustre, right? Intel is the majority CPU manufacturer in HPC. Lustre helps HPC. So Intel likes us just to be around and to have an open source alternative to other platforms. And they're going to keep that for us. We're going to be doing that from here on out. We work with almost all the storage vendors that are sponsors here. We will team up with absolutely any of you who want to either do the storage yourself, the vendors that sell the storage. We want to help you put Lustre appropriately on your hardware and make it work in the environments for the end users. That's it. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Brent Gorda. Next, we have my pal, Michael Kluge, who's going to be speaking for NetApp. Michael Kluge.
Thank you. I consider myself an intruder here because I don't work for NetApp. I work for the university in Dresden. But NetApp asked me if I would talk a little bit about the acquisition that we made recently. So we finalized a contract with Bill. We are buying a system from them, 100 teraflops compute this year, petaflop next year, and some storage from NetApp with it. In Germany, actually, to get funding for an HPC system, you need to have an own research agenda. And what we always do in Dresden is performance analysis. That's our specialty. That's what we do since, I guess now like 20 years, since Professor Nagel came to Dresden. With this system, we want to do some storage research and basically kind of trying to catch users that do I/O the wrong way or do have strange I/O patterns and kind of have storage with different I/O characteristics and maybe separated storage areas that we can assign to different users so that they don't hurt each other, and that maybe some have SATA disks, some have SSD disks, some have maybe something created from a bunch of local disks, things like that. And we want to do some continuous monitoring of resources, do some I/O request pattern tracking, and especially trying to find if there's correlations between batch system activities and things like counters on switches and maybe cache hits on RAID controllers, things like that. So for the first phase of our system, which is currently being installed, and the acceptance tests are supposed to start soon, we bought 4 pairs of the successor of the controller that's been sold to Lawrence Livermore. So we have the E5560, and each of the pairs has 120 disks in it, and together with the 4 file servers that we have, it fits well in a rack. So it's a petabyte usable storage from the user's perspective, and we've already seen 27 gigabytes a second on reads and 20 gigabytes a second on writes, which gives you a throughput of 7 gigabytes, almost 7 gigabytes for a single OSS server. And I've seen 3 gigabytes seconds writes from a single client, which I think is pretty nice to have. For the phase 2, which is supposed to be installed end of next year, we'll get 5 petabyte in SATA storage and a dedicated SSD file system. The E5500 controllers come basically in 2 flavors for the external ports. We have the option where you have 4 ports per controller, and you always have 2 controllers per chassis. And in Lawrence Livermore, they use the InfiniBand version of this. You can have up to 384 SAS drives in one. We have 120. I think in Lawrence Livermore they have 60. And yeah, it's got a few different configurations, starting with 12, 24, and then multiples of 60 disks. So these are some performance measurements done by NetApp people, actually by Didier Gaba from NetApp in France. I think that the most impressive number is here. If you look at the 4 LANs and reads, you see that if you know that the LAN is always built from 10 disks, that you read from the disks with an average of 200 megabytes a second from single disk. And that you scale nice well up to 8 gigabytes a second on reads, and that you are almost at 7 gigabytes on writes if you use 120 disks. So this is how actually the system looks like that's installed in one of our racks. We have the 4 servers. Each server has 4 dual-port SAS cards, and each card so each server has 1 link to each available controller. So in that way, you can lose a controller or a SAS card or a server, and the file system will still be available. And I already played Chaos Monkey in this file system myself, so once I pulled power cables from an OSS server, and we still got, I think, 14 gigabytes a second writes from the 20 during, including all the failover going on and so on. So this was a nice job I built for setting this up. These are all my slides. Thank you.
Okay. Next we have Josh Judd, who we heard from earlier. I should point out that Josh is going to be part of the Lustre and corporate space, commercial space panel tomorrow at 1 p.m. Your slides are ready, sir. Josh Judd.
Hello again. So Warp Mechanics does a lot of private label stuff for major integrator partners. Many of you won't have heard of us because we sell things through Hive Solutions, for example. They do the entire server layer for Facebook.com. You've probably heard of Facebook, but they don't really know storage very well, so they hired us to help them do storage. A lot of other Fortune 500 companies have done that. So Hive Solutions is over $10 billion a year company. They've got a lot of resources. Warp just did the major engineering work for them on the storage side. We don't really sell direct. We always sell through some kind of a partnership. But for you guys, we come here in person because that's just how we roll. What we do for commercial customers is produce turnkey systems that have the server layer, the storage layer, the operating system, Lustre, everything pre-configured, but we give them the keys to the kingdom. So we deliver as an appliance, but we maintain the personality of a fully flexible Unix system. We don't try to obscure the fact that we're running a Solaris-based operating system on our controllers and Linux on our OSSs. So what happens after the system is turned on and stood up is completely flexible. Put this in perspective, a system that one of our customers stood up that's equivalent scale to the system in the lower left corner. They spent about 6 months getting it online. Our equivalent system takes, 6 days because it's been pre-built and pre-configured and pre-tested in Hive's factory. So that's what we do for non-traditional HPC customers, but you guys already know how to build supercomputers, so the primary value for you guys would be our Zfs Array. This is just like a normal RAID array. It's got 2 controllers, it's got a bunch of disks in it. The difference is it uses open storage software on the controllers, ZFS, instead of running a proprietary stack or a hardware RAID controller that's going to fall further and further behind the industry and innovation. This supports both RAID and NAS, so you can take this exact same shelf, flip a switch, and turn it into an NFS server or an iSCSI server or whatever you want to do with it. It's a unified storage platform, I guess you could say. Supports Ethernet, fiber channel, and InfiniBand interfaces. I'm sure this shelf looks familiar. You can see an example of it at any of our competitors' booths, probably. We all buy things from the same contract manufacturer. So from a hardware standpoint, it's really the exact same shelf you would get elsewhere. We just do factory direct pricing on it. So tends to be a little bit less expensive, and we let you guys have control over the operating system on the controllers instead of trying to say, here's our proprietary operating system. So when we sell it, it's called a Warp RAID or a Warp NAS, depending on which software bit you flip. Has, the same number of slots that it would have if you bought it from anybody else, obviously. 2 Sandy Bridge Intel-based controllers with PCI Gen 3. You can get 240 terabytes in a single 4U enclosure, so very, very high density. 2 petabytes per rack if you want to rig it as archival storage. So very high density. I think it's more exciting when we look at it as a ZFS hybrid array that uses non-volatile RAM for the ZFS intent log. Had an interesting discussion earlier with one of the Oak Ridge people, and he started to say he wasn't really completely on board with SSD as a write accelerator. Neither are we. We don't use SSDs for write acceleration at all. You tend to burn up SSDs from a writeware standpoint. We just use NVRAMs for write acceleration. We use high capacity SSDs for read acceleration. So we force feed the SSDs with the data we think is most likely to be read soon again. And then the rest of the array we just put in nearline SAS 4 terabyte drives. If you've done the SSD and NVRAM architecture properly, the hard drives themselves essentially become an HSM solution. You write to the hard drives and very rarely will you read from them again. So the hard drives are mostly archival. And since this is supposed to be a marketing presentation where we, pitch something at you, this is what I would pitch. 3 different configurations of that array, ranging from, $60,000 for a quarter of a petabyte of archival storage. I think that's a pretty good price point. You could get a full rack, 2 petabyte rack for $500,000 at that kind of price point. All the way up to a pure SSD solution for 10 times that price, but the ability to do a full petabyte of SSD in a single rack is fairly unique. So for anybody looking to do a deep analytics application, if you want to be able to do random writes and random reads over a very large data set, I think this is probably the most cost-effective solution in the industry. So with that, any questions? Any comments? Any rotten fruit to throw because I'm standing between you and dinner? So, all right, I'll turn it over to the next vendor.
Thanks, Josh. All right. Michael, are you doing this one? Yes. All right. And here we have Blanco Connolly from Xyratex.
Thank you.
Hit it, man.
Thank you. No, actually, I think I'm the last one that's like standing between everybody and dinner. And it happens a lot. It seems every place I go, every time we're doing presentations, we're always the last one because I think our company's starting with an X. That's right. We're going to do reverse order next year. So the vendors actually go in reverse order. That's right. That's right. So everybody have a good time today. Everybody get all your information, have some very informative presentations. So I'm going to try and be brief. I have, I think, less than 32 slides. Hey, how come my thing's not working?
Oh, it's probably because I screwed something up.
Use the arrows? Does it work?
If you don't mind.
No, that's good. Well, as all you guys are very well aware, number one, as Xyratex, we are here to sell you something. So just want to make sure that you guys understand that we do make our money by selling and having you guys buy our products. Petascale computing and the applications around that, obviously data from an exponential growth standpoint is very common to everyone in the room. But applications themselves and the reliance on computational types of statistical analysis and those constructs that all of you and most of the users out there are becoming reliant on are giving rise to storage that has to have higher throughput, has got to have the capabilities for high availability. Traditional storage systems, in some cases, are very, very not capable of that based on the fact that they do not scale up and out appropriately. As the nodes are added linearly, it is not scaling in the same way. The compute, the network interconnects, everything does not scale along with the storage. So individual components are difficult and you'll have bottlenecks in that regard. That was one of the driving forces on some of the solutions that we actually created at Xyratex. So some common threads among all of those applications, and those applications that were on the previous slide, we are very focused on those verticals and those specific applications. We have recently, within the last year, designated specific individuals that are focusing on those vertical markets in regards to the solutions that we actually create. So some very common threads among all of those are that higher throughput, that higher availability, reliability in those systems themselves. Okay. So, a little help wanted signs. Okay. So Xyratex as an organization, we have a very unique understanding. We've been around for over 25 years. Xyratex, based on our understanding, has started in the market where we actually do a lot of the testing methodologies for the hard drive vendors. You can see from this slide that over 18% of the worldwide drives have shipped through us. 50% are tested through us. We work directly with all the hard drive vendors, including Seagate, Western Digital, Fujitsu, Toshiba. All of these guys rely on us. They buy test equipment from us that are in their labs. In addition to the enterprise storage solutions that we actually create based on the information that we get from them on what we should be doing within these environments. This also comes from the aspect of commitment to the community. This is a very, very important point to bring up. We are where we are in creating solutions and what we have been able to do over the last 25 years by listening to you as customers, the community, and the vendors and our partners. We work directly with Intel, with all of the hard drive vendors that are out there, with Mellanox, the interconnect vendors. We make sure that we have regular aspects to this. We were early supporters of the OpenSFS, came on board as a promoter member as the first entry point. We helped drive the 3 organizations that existed prior to the OpenSFS and the integration and that unification of those guys. I think it was, 2 years ago? The unification took place after the Orlando LUG meeting. Okay, so Cornerstone of Storage, you can read this at your leisure. Okay, we're actually going to provide copies of this presentation, but again, we have been in business for a very, very long time. We are driving very committed and very, very committed to not only the community, but the advancement of Lustre, the advancement of storage solutions in areas of those verticals, big data, cloud, all the areas that are really a focus, and HPC itself, and focusing on those types of areas that you guys are as well. Okay. This is a very good slide to show not only with the OpenSFS and the UFS and that commitment, but we actually are driving an exascale IO group with the UFS that is led by Dr. Peter Brahm as the entity that is involved from our organization. We helped found that. We actually are doing from the integration of Lustre. We chose Lustre based on its capabilities, based on those requirements early for what's going to be required in petascale and exascale computing. This is a very good slide to bring up to you to show in the aspect of what I was saying and listening to the customer where we had built upon in 25 years. We started off with the modular enclosures and building upon those and adding intelligence to those, which we call embedded server modules, putting the compute, making those JBODs essentially intelligent. We built upon those early modular enclosures that we had created. Building upon those intelligent storage and application platforms and embedded storage platforms, we built into an integrated appliance with the cluster store solution. This is an integrated, includes the Lustre, the operating system, the file system, the compute, storage, all in one aspect in an appliance that can actually be scaled out linearly across the board. So getting rid of that bottleneck that I had mentioned earlier. Okay, so this is a nice marketing slide for you guys. All right, this is a good slide to show you exactly what we're talking about for where cluster store came from. Traditional, come back. Okay, so traditional Lustre design included where you had all the separated components. So you can see from the gas gauges at the top, the network I/O, the compute and RAM, and the spindles for the hard drives, all scaled separately. So as these were integrated together, okay, basically Cluster Store takes all of those separated components, integrates them into one appliance where everything is included, easier manageability from this standpoint. So you have one management interface to manage the compute, the storage, network I/O, everything. And by doing this, you can see from a standpoint, just getting through that a little bit quicker, the gas gauge at the top. As this scales, as you add additional what we call scalable storage units and additional racks, you're scaling everything at the same time linearly. So you're getting rid of that bottleneck from a throughput standpoint. Okay, Cluster Store Manager actually comes with the Cluster Store solution, so it is a one pane of glass interface to manage everything across the board. So going back to that previous slide, we're covering all those areas that are really required from a standpoint going into the future that are required by HPC applications, some of the big data applications, but many of those petascale applications that we showed in the first couple of slides. These are some additional benefit slides you can see. This is some of the success stories that we've had in the industry. We're getting more and more of these every day. Some of you guys in the room are very familiar with us. Some of you guys are working directly with us already. Okay, and before I say that, so we again are very, very committed. We believe in the Lustre. And while you guys are all here, make sure that you come by and get one of our t-shirts. So we actually brought for you guys can all have for free. So long live Lustre. Now you guys get to go eat dinner.
Okay, let's just take a moment and have a round of applause for all of our sponsors who have managed to make this happen. So thank you all. And thanks to everyone here for having made it through day one. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow at 8 a.m., including Galen Shipman.